So this is a Democrat hoax.
I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump.
Wow.
It was his biggest brag, actually.
Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters. To see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real.
Hi everyone, JJ here. Welcome back. Well, something very serious today. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and his criminal collaborators gathered in Washington, D.C. for a public push to have the Epstein Files finally released. Not fake released, fully released. And they had a press conference today. Donald Trump commented on it. He was asked about it. It was a split screen moment, really. He was saying it was a hoax while they were actually talking. There was a military flyover during the press conference, which is also very suspicious. Anyway, let's see what they had to say here. As I said, it's very serious, and Donald Trump not taking it seriously. It's been suspicious all along. Does anybody believe that he's not involved at this point? Anyway, let's see what they had to say, and I'll comment on it as we go along.
Hi there. My name is Lisa Phillips. I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey, but he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford modeling agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet, he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
All right, so that's a really brave thing to do. Multiple people have died in being involved in this, including Epstein himself, of course. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and Trump has been calling this a hoax, continues to call it a hoax, a Democrat hoax, which is plainly ridiculous. But I do hope they do this. Of course they know the names. If nobody else is going to release it, why wouldn't they if they want justice? And here is what Donald Trump had to say. Pretty disgusting, really, that he's still saying this. You know, it's so super suspicious.
President, right now there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massey, who was sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on releasing those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir? So this is a Democrat hoax.
Okay, so first thing he said, a Democrat hoax. He had it lined up, ready to go. This is what he's been saying. Does anybody believe things like that at this point?
That never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given.
Okay, so just for background there, just today they released files, but there was nothing there. It's a fake release to try and distract, and even that military flyover of planes seemed like it was a distraction during the actual press conference.
But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C.
He's talking about distraction, and now he goes on to talk about, in a massive distraction, everything that he's supposedly been doing well, but really it's turning into an authoritarian regime, including taking over DC, military on the streets, but that is another story. But listen to the BS that he spouts here.
It's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do. All run by Democrats, or for the most part, run by Democrats.
Okay, so he's flagging there. They're going to put more military on the streets in Democrat-run cities. Of course, that's the next step in this authoritarian regime, increasingly so.
So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein whatever. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going.
Until they're fully released, not redacted, and nothing with Trump in it, of course.
I think it's enough, because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever.
Okay, I can't stand it. That's enough. So they did respond to this because it was happening at the same time. This press conference was happening. And so some of the survivors did respond to this. Let's get into that. What did they say?
The president has said that this Epstein issue is a hoax, is the words that he used. Can we get your reactions to what you think when you hear him say that?
I'll answer that. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot, and it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not... Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I cannot speak for that. But I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
Ms. Edwards, I wonder if any of the victims could respond to the news from recently about Ghislaine Maxwell being transferred to a lower security prison.
Okay, so Ghislaine Maxwell being transferred, if you didn't know about that, to a much less secure prison. You know, really, they refer to it as a camp, a holiday camp. That was Trump's doing, it seems like, to shut her up, if I was to guess. And you know, here's what they have to say about that.
You want that one?
About her transfer to
Oh,
yeah. Sure. I'm happy to speak to that. We were horrified to learn that she had been transferred to a prison camp. She is someone who was found guilty by a jury of sex trafficking. She not only, we often hear that she procured women for Jeffrey, which I think is a very sort of polite and minimizing term, she also participated in the abuse. She was a major architect of the scheme. And the fact that she's painted herself as a victim, I think is disgusting. And it was horrifying, I think, to us that we were not told about her prison transfer. We found out about it in the news.
So, Anushka DeGiorgio, I testified alongside Annie at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. I was horrified when I found out not only had Ghislaine Maxwell been transferred to what's called a low security. It's really is like a holiday camp. And then afterwards, I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. This woman abused children.
See that? A plane goes over, and then as soon after that, another plane goes over. It's very strange right during this press conference. We got distraction. Suspicious.
I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for over 10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was present for some of my abuse at the hand of Jeffrey Epstein. She was present, she was complicit, she was enabling, and it is appalling and disgusting. And it's one of my worst nightmares that she not only be transferred, but at the possibility that's very much going around that she might be pardoned. This is not okay, guys. This is not okay.
And I just want to add that I think it sends a very dangerous message to our country, to the young people in our country, that someone that we all know is aware of these crimes could be given a pass.
She said that Epstein would brag about her relationship with Donald Trump. Could she please elaborate about that?
Yeah, I did say that.
Here we go again. Plane.
My first trip to the Palm Beach residence, I drove there from the airport with Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey and Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends, and his biggest brag forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump. He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. They were very close.
Very close.
Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with quid pro quo I did not consent to, but I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump.
Wow.
It was his biggest brag, actually.
Wow, so Bill Clinton mentioned there, and biggest brag knowing Donald Trump, as if he wasn't involved, being one of Epstein's best friends by the sound of it. This story comes up again and again, and this is from the actual women involved. That's why I think it's so important to listen to them. You know, it's a distraction. Donald Trump saying this is a hoax is absolutely ridiculous and just so unbelievable. Does anybody believe that? Maybe is Fox News spinning this to believe it, or are they just ignoring this?
And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us. But one thing is certain, unless we learn from this history, monsters like Epstein will rise again.
Okay. So yes, important. There's quite a lot of this from the press conference. I do urge you to look around at more of this to hear what they have to say. not just listen to Donald Trump and those trying to distract and say that it's a hoax. Absolutely ridiculous. So what do you think of all this? Let me know in the comments. Do you think that they will eventually release the files fully? Will they be forced to? This is what this is aimed at, to get Congress to release them. You know, they apparently they need 2 more Republicans to do that. We've had a couple of women who have signed to get this happening. So we'll see if this does actually happen and what is in store for Donald Trump if that does happen. Right now, I'm going to put a related video below me. I'll let YouTube decide what that is. I'm not sure I have anything directly related to this yet, but I will keep on this story as time goes by. Also, a subscribe link. Do subscribe if you want to get more of these kinds of videos from me in the very near future. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.